What's up everybody, welcome back to Dale Does It All. I've finally cleaned my garage and I am ready to start the next project. So about 8 years ago or so, I decided I was gonna build my own DIY storage system above my garage door. Well, unfortunately, that has turned into something of a sensitive topic. And the reason why is because over time, this wood has started to sag from the rafters based on the way that I built it. And guess what? Now it's making contact with my door here. And that's not good. So, believe it or not, I have my first sponsor for a video and it just happened to work out perfectly. So either Facebook is really good at watching my search history
and collecting information,
or FLEXIMOUNTS just was right on the spot with this opportunity. Because of that, they sent me the GL1 4x4 garage ceiling storage lift rack. It's a mouthful. But what that's going to do, it's going to allow me to install a system above my garage door, and using its cable system, I'm able to actually raise and now lower this entire storage system whenever I need it, which is insane. No more ladders or getting on any sort of like step stools trying to get stuff up there above the garage door. And finally, I don't have to worry about my garage door hitting the storage system. So let's go ahead and get this thing unpacked and see what all comes in the box, see how difficult it is to put together. All right, now that I got the door up and the UTV out, time to take all the stuff that's up there down, and I'm pretty sure you guys don't want to watch me do that. So let's go ahead and just knock that out. My back is definitely going to hate me for that later. All right, let's get to unboxing this thing. It says 2-man lift. I'd say if you use a dolly, it's pretty manageable. It's definitely easier than that table I took down. Okay, so like we said before, this is a FLEXIMOUNTS model GL1. It's a 4x4 garage ceiling storage lift rack. And what makes this item really special is the fact that you can essentially raise and lower everything from the floor using their cable system. Honestly, if you don't have a lot of room in your garage, or you're just kind of beginning to get cluttered in your space, a lot of times, like mine, like the storage rack that you build, you still have to get up and down ladders and step stools in order to access it. So having something that you can store things and easily just lower it to get to it and raise it when you're not using it, that kind of changes the game. So I think this is successful. I might get a few more, but for now, let's go ahead and see how this thing works. So that's it here. There's your cable systems, all your parts, your hardware, and let's go ahead and grab the instructions. It says that it comes with a template. Position this within 48 inches between your struts. So it gives you this cool template that you can just tape using the provided tape and verify that it's gonna fit onto your rafters. So let's go ahead and try that out. So here's our template. Now we need to get that up there. One thing you want to look at before you align your template and place it to the ceiling is the fact that there's different size slots. You're gonna have one slot for the actual pulleys, and then you're gonna have another slot for the actual C-channel. So the side that has the C-channel is going to be the side that has the actual lifting arm, or the arm that you spin to raise and lower the entire rack assembly. So pay attention to that before you put your template up in the event that you're trying to figure out how you want to position yours. Now you have a good way to orient yourself. Let's try this. Maybe something like right here. Yeah, so one thing you need to make sure you're doing when you put it on here is if you don't have it straight, if you have it at an angle at all, it's gonna look like your rafters may not line up. So it's probably really important that you make sure that the template is at least perpendicular to the orientation of the rafters. Safety first. I'm actually gonna cheat, because ain't nobody got time for that. Much easier. The template is awesome. The tape, nice gesture, but if you got a staple gun, you're probably gonna save yourself some hassle if you just do a few staples to get it up there in place. But for the most part, this thing went on pretty easy, pretty well. I did have to adjust my rafters a little bit. Nothing to do with FLEXIMOUNT or their system. What it comes down to is that my rafters, when I built this garage, I didn't have them perfectly lined up. So in the event that you do put something up like this and you can't see the rafters, you definitely want to use a stud finder to be 100% sure that you're actually going to go into the stud, because just like how I didn't put mine perfectly, if you go to try to install these and you do miss the stud, it's not going to be properly supported from the 4 points, and that is not a good thing. So just be extra careful and verify that you do actually have studs in the location that you are going to place the template. So next we're gonna go ahead and pre-drill the holes that these lag bolts are gonna go into. It says a 0.2 pilot bit. I have a 3/16 that I'm going to use. The most important thing that whenever you're sizing up bits for this, maybe you don't have the exact size, you just wanna make sure that it's smaller than the actual shank or diameter of the bolt, and you still have the ability for these threads on the left and right hand side to actually grab something when they're screwing in. You don't want to get something that's too big where the actual diameter is larger than that, because these bolts aren't going to have anything to grab onto. And you don't want to get too small, because then it's actually going to split the rafter and it's going to greatly compromise the structural integrity. Now we're just going to align this thing and mark our holes. So I'm using a permanent marker, cardboard slot, and I'm actually gonna mark the entire slot size. So that way, when I go to shoot my pilot, I'm not shooting for one single little hole. I know that I have like a range that I can go for. That one's good. So it says the pilot bit should be about 2.5 inches. So I'm gonna go ahead and just put a mark on my bit, so that way I at least know what I'm going for when I go to insert it. You definitely should be wearing safety glasses. At a minimum, you don't want to be underneath looking up at the falling debris when you're drilling if you're not wearing safety glasses. All right, so let's see what's next here. So we just drilled those pilot holes. Now we are going to be installing the actual brackets. So gonna be this big guy and this big guy. Going to be going in, and both of the pulley brackets, we just marked all the holes for those earlier. For those, we're going to be needing these lag bolts, and it looks like it gives you a tool that you can screw these in, kind of like a hand style wrench, but I ain't got time for that. All right, got my impact gun and I got my 13 mil socket for my lag bolts. Once you get one screw in and just started, makes it a lot easier to just hold the bracket for you. Kind of like that. All right, now that we got those up, I guess we can go ahead and take the template down. So it gives a demonstration of how these things are supposed to be actually wired. So I'm gonna go ahead and read through these instructions and make sure I understand it, and then start putting it together. All right, so the way I understand this is that this portion is the gearbox. And because of the way that I installed my mounts, my gearbox is going to be on that side. So this axle actually extends and retracts, and the full extension of the axle is when both this hole and this hole are exposed. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and position my ladder underneath this gearbox side, maybe closer to the center. And then once I get it to the position that I want it, I'm gonna fully extend this so that way it's locked in. All right, got the left side in pretty easily. Gonna compress this right side, position the bracket so that way it can slide in. And while holding my left hand, I'm gonna fully extend the right into the actual slot, just like that. Now, both holes should be exposed and this should be firmly in place. Pretty easy. So next, we're gonna go ahead and those 2 bolts that we left exposed a minute ago, we're gonna put these bolts through so that way to keep them from compressing again or collapsing on themselves. All right, now that we've got these in place, got the cables loose, I'm gonna go ahead and put these Allen screws in so that way it locks this into place. Now that we have those installed, looks like we're gonna take these longer cables and run those through the pulley systems on the opposite sides. Looks like all we got left is just to assemble the actual grate. Let's go for it. If you're looking at the instructions and you're wondering where to place the beams actually are gonna go underneath the pulleys. So just like we have 2 pulleys right here in line with each other on the same rafter, that beam is gonna go also in line. So that's how we're gonna orient the actual platform. This side of the wire deck should face upward. So it should actually go like this. There we go. With the reinforced side on the outboard. So it should be like this. There we go. And now complete it for the rest of them. All right, now with that connected, we need to lift this thing up and get the cables connected. Well, here is the rack system in all its glory. So a couple things that I did learn while assembling this, and that is you don't want to tighten these little hooks too much because it's going to cause buckling. All right, let's try a weight test. I'm 165 pounds. And I'd say it's holding me pretty well. I feel like I want to maybe adjust these cables a little bit. I think they might be a little twisted. So let me just go ahead and do that. So last but not least, we have this hand crank, which inserts like that. And there's a little screw you put on the end of it. So if you want to use it as a hand crank, you can do it like this. So in order to use this mechanism, first take this little latch and you apparently pull it up and out of the way like that. You should be able to rotate this by hand, just like so. There it is, look at it, that's cool. So you kind of just hold this thing and spin it, and then it just goes up. Or, if you're like me, you're a little lazy, you can remove this little screw and handle portion of it, grab your variable speed drill, chuck it up. That's what I'm talking about. Oh yeah. How cool is that, guys? So I'm gonna try to position this tote so it can go in between those rafters when it raises. Oh, perfect. That is perfect. And just like that, I've got access to my stuff again. So what are my thoughts overall of the FLEXIMOUNT GL1 system? Honestly, if I had a bigger one, I would have put it in. I think that it's a really great product. It's easy to install. I think adding the template in order for you to line everything up correctly and make sure it's the right height, that's like top notch as far as design. I think it's a simple system that accomplishes so much. Being able to take your stuff and have quick and easy access to it while placing it above like a garage door and making use of that space is one of the best things you can do in your garage. It's a quick win. And overall, I'm pleased with it. I'm gonna drop a link for where you can get the same system. But if you guys haven't, check out FLEXIMOUNTS. They've got all kinds of different storage solutions for your garage. And hopefully I'll have another video of them helping me organize this mess that I got going on in here. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you like this type of content, and I'll see you on the next one. Dell does it all. See you guys. Well, I guess now that I got that up, I can finally show you guys how well my garage is cleaned since the last project I did. And I'm gonna get back to cleaning.